Jaahnavi Kandula. She was all of 23 when an American police officer hit her with his speeding car, and she was crossing the street and the police officer was responding to a drug overdose call. Jaahnavi was thrown over 100 feet when the police officer's car struck her. A US court has now freed him, saying that there's lack of evidence. While this has sparked outrage amongst Indians, what has really angered Indians across the globe is the footage showing the officer laughing at the deadly crash. She was just 23, with dreams, aspirations, and a whole life ahead of her. This has, of course, raised a larger question. Has the American dream turned into a nightmare for Indian students? And joining me live on India Global this week, I'm being joined by Purvi Jothani, who is the founder and managing partner at LawQuest, an immigration expert. And also with us, Nikshipita Reddy, an Indian living in the US, a student herself. Thanks very much for joining us on India Global. Going across to you first, Purvi, as an immigration expert, I'm sure you come across a lot of students, a lot of Indian students. What are the kind of trepidations and fears and anxieties that you see these students sort of going through, particularly in a country like US, which is completely new and something that they find difficult to navigate as well? Ma'am, I'm afraid you are on mute. Could you unmute yourself, please, and go ahead?
Sorry about that. So all the students who come to America to study always come with a dream, only thinking of the positive aspects of the life in America. Very few people think about their personal security. Nobody thinks about the gun laws in America that allow people to have guns. Of course, this was an accident, but so many of our students are being shot also on campuses, etc. So I think now onwards, the students are going to choose their universities based on the security elements around those campuses. I believe that the campus where she was studying was an open campus. That is, it's not a gated community. But I mean, if they were studying in gated communities, it could be safer. But what happened to Jaahnavi was an accident. Whose fault it was is a different matter, but it was an accident. So it was not a gun violation or a hate crime.
That it was an accident, and in fact the court perhaps has also said that there is lack of evidence for now, but of course they can return to the court. But it has been a legal battle, Nikshipita, hasn't it? Because her family has been waiting for justice for almost a year now, and this incident has really shocked Indians across the world. How is the Indian student community reacting there where you are?
We are part of Seattle, and there's like so many Indian organizations that have worked towards Jaahnavi's moment it happened last year exactly in the month of January, and in September various organizations came together to strive a movement against this. Definitely we all felt like, as an Indian sole Indian community, we all felt that it is very crucial not to give up and raising our voices against injustice, even when it feels like it goes unheard. It's crucial for creating long-term change. That is what we are feeling right now, because we considering my situation, I came here as a student to aspire my higher education, similar to the case of Jaahnavi. And when Jaahnavi is one among us, we all felt like, okay, so what is the kind of value that a person has here? And especially when you said like the lawbreakers, lawmakers are definitely breaking the law, seems like. And they say that there is no proper evidence that has been proved, which is kind of insane. And like at this minute, the people are definitely not happy with the verdict, and we are coming as a community to work together and spending our time in reaching out to the King County officials and getting accountable for all the things. But I mean, again, like we are also losing hope. After all this, like many people promised so many things related to her, but after that, like yesterday's verdict, whatever we have heard, is definitely kind of like heartbreaking for all of us, and we all feel like we are all not safe, secure, and many questions and many tensions are raising as part of our community.
So Jaahnavi was one among us, a strong voice there from Seattle. But, Purva, also looking at the outrage over the body cam footage, because that is what has sparked outrage across the world. He was seen laughing it off and sort of almost dismissing the deadly crash. Do you see this as a larger pattern there? Because it reeks of racism and insensitivity. Ma'am, I am afraid you're on mute again.
I'm not on mute.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
There are two things over here that we need to clarify. One is that the officer who was part of the accident is not the officer who made those insulting comments. Officer Kevin David, he is the one who was part of the accident, Kevin Dave. And Officer Orderer was the one who made those offensive comments. He was making those comments when he was reporting to the president of his association, of which he was the vice president, on what had transpired. So the two officers are different.
No, but the body cam footage that has surfaced, of course, also shows the police officer in a sense sort of laughing it off. And, the larger response, or as lawmakers, the larger response, I mean, you're a lawmaker yourself and you're a police officer. Don't you think there has to be some sort of sensitivity to it?
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. Officer Orderer's comments were absolutely insensitive, insulting, and absolutely erodes the respect for the international community, students in America.
Yes.
That has to be penalized. And I think that the government will take action against him. He was terminated for a bit or suspended for a bit, and now he's assigned desk duties. But I'm sure they will take penal action.
But as you said, he needs to be sort of called to book or held accountable for those remarks there and the kind of response that we saw. Thanks very much, Purva and Nikshibita, for joining us on India Global this week.